As usual, I'm starting by prepping the eye area. I'm busting out an oldie but a goodie today, the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and I'm just applying this to the eye area. I find with this product you don't need to set it in place. I can apply eyeshadow directly on top of it, and I can go about my day quite confident in the fact that my eyeshadows aren't going to smudge, crease or fade. Next, I'm adding my highlight shade, and I'm opting for a matte white today. I'm adding this just along the under portion of the brow, and then I'm feathering the edges downwards towards the crease. I'm going to do a little crease work now, so the first shade I'm starting with is called Unexpected by Geek, and this is a lovely light mauve shade with a matte finish, and I'm just blending it into the crease with circular motions. Out of all of the Geek shadows I've tried to date, this one definitely isn't as pigmented, but that's alright because I always layer up my shadows anyway. This one just requires a little more work. But next then I'm taking this shadow here from the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette, and I'm applying that into the crease as well, but keeping it a little deeper in the crease. As I'm applying this, you may be thinking, what's the point? It's very similar to the one that you applied previously, and it is and it isn't. This one is slightly darker, there may be a small shade difference, but I do believe that it makes a big difference to the look overall because it's adding depth. Now I'm going to move on to the lid, so I'm taking this gorgeous kind of grey brown and I'm packing it onto the lid with the use of a C-shaped brush, and I'm only taking this colour about halfway across the lid. Once I'm pleased with the intensity of that shade, I'm feathering the colour upwards just so that it fades nicely into that dark mauve in the crease. Then I'm going back in with my fluffy blending brush, and I'm using the remaining product on the brush to really fuse my crease and my lid colour together. Next then I'm going back in with that matte white shade, and I'm packing this on the remaining half of the lid, and I just find this really opens up the eyes despite all the darkness. From that same Kat Von D palette now, I'm going in with some black eyeshadow, and I'm just patting this down on the outer third of the eye with a pencil brush. I'm just applying a tiny amount because I don't want to overpower the look with the black, I just want to add a little bit of depth. I'm going to start working on the wing now, and if you've been a follower of my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I do this in 2 stages. So I map out my shape first with the use of a felt tip liner pen, and once I'm happy with that rough outline, I then fill it in with liquid. And I just find this technique is really good for beginners, or maybe those just aren't very confident with liner. I don't really fall into either category, but you know, I'm not leaving anything to chance, not after all the effort I put into blending. I didn't come this far to mess up now. But I'm going to create that cat eye look now, so to give us that cat eye appearance, I'm pulling down the liner on the inner corner of the eye, and then I'm angling it back towards the lower lash line, so that we've kind of got that little point. I'm adding some nice dramatic lashes now. These ones are from Penneys and they're only €2. They're one of my favourite styles that they stock. But I went for the dramatic lashes because I think a natural lash would kind of get lost in the look. The dramatic ones just really tie the whole look together. I'm starting that gradient effect along the lower lash line now. So I'm beginning with that light mauve shade and I'm smoking that along the lower lash line. Then I'm adding the darker one, but I'm not blending it out as far. I still want to be able to see that lighter shade. Once I'm happy with that, I'm sweeping a bit of that brown down along the lower lash line too. Same rule applies here, don't cover up the previous shade. And for the black, I'm pressing this into the lashes, and I'm working it all the way along the lower lash line and joining it up with that point on the inner corner. For the waterline, I'm using this gel eyeliner from Kiss. It's jet black and it doesn't budge, which is exactly what I want, so I'm just pressing this onto the inner part of the eye with the use of a flat brush. I want to blend my own lashes in with those false ones, so to do that I'm going to add a couple of coats of mascara, but then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.